explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? Okay, we are back. It is, what is it, the 3rd day of February? Welcome. I got groceries today. Much to my surprise, I actually got something I ordered. Not everything. At least 8 items did not come through. But I did get something I've been wanting for a month or at least, so okay. One of the things that was going on was I had a coupon and a sale going on for bags of Milano cookies if you bought 3. So I picked out 3. 1 came through. 2, the substitutes that they offered were not to my liking. So we have 1 package of cookies, and considering how sweet this is, it's probably for the best. Okay, first of all, I love coconut. And I'm going to say, going by the texture, this has coconut flour in it. Let's see. Wheat flour, sugar, vegetable oil, white chocolate. At least the white chocolate's real. Usually it's just vanilla. No, coconut distillate. What in the hell is coconut distillate? Is that why it tastes slightly fake? Alright, well, it says baked with no artificial flavors or preservatives. Maybe the word we're looking for is ingredients. There's be no artificial ingredients. Well, we are trying it. The texture does suggest it has coconut in it, a coconut flour, but that's not at all true. There is vanilla powder, cornstarch, baking soda. Yeah, there is not a shred of actual coconut in this, just coconut distillates. We won't be getting that again. I have a closet full of coconut, including some coconut flour. And coconut sugar, even. I think I can come up with my own stuff. This is what happens when you make a grocery order, either when you're hungry or late at night. And you go, oh yeah, don't forget about that. As a result, I forgot a couple of things. But I didn't really need much because I have been getting stocked. Now, aside from like the fresh dairy, I can float for the next 3 months. All right, let's see. I really wanted to get started with my first wet felting project, or my dry needle felting project, which I have to do now, like it or not. But it takes time. Today I got the soap I needed, and also I'm out of paintings to send to Gloria and Harvey, so I have to finish something today. It's my color chart. There you go. Hello, Sancho. How are you doing? How has your weather been? Oh, probably. I don't use Reddit, but yeah, it's getting popular again, which is wonderful. It's a very important art not to lose. It's a way you make quality things, quality garments, you know, hats, all that. See, as it turned out, my desire to try something new coincides with what I'm writing. So it's like, if I'm writing about something, I have to know what it's like from the inside before I can write about it, because it's not going to feel real when I write about it if I don't have some understanding personally. So I have to do it. So I finally have everything I need to get started on a small project. Why? That's disgusting. Influencers. Our country won't pay to support a child. No school lunches, no schools. But they want you to stay pregnant and barefoot and out of the workforce because they want it to be only white men. Yeah, that stuff is just so toxic. I hope I know I've seen evidence that our younger generations are not being fooled by that. The realities are right in their face. Have a baby while you can't afford housing or food or insurance or a car or car insurance. Really, it's an experience. Do you plan on having one? Okay, I need some flowers. Of course, my entire life has been volunteer. I've even been on television raising money for the March of Dimes. You know, like real TV. Why? Have you? How old were you when you were no longer reliant on your parents? So you're not even free of your parents yet. Oh, you became free at 18? You're on your own now? Teaching is a very satisfying thing to do. I taught my first little class just to one child and then two in a program that was pairing up 8th graders who were doing really well with 2nd graders who were failing 2nd grade because of mostly learning disabilities or emotional problems at home. And it's interesting working with people. We aren't close. We're independent. I'm sorry, can you make sense of that sentence for me? How old were you when you left your parents' home and became independent? Standing on your own. You and your parents, I'm asking you, how old were you when that separation occurred and you stood on your own 2 feet? Well, they paid the hospital bill to have you born, and somebody fed you. So, where did you get your food and clothes until you left home? The Americans are very slow in general to leave the nest unless something bad is going on in the nest. And some make their children dependent. They want them dependent. "17 for me." Good, okay. And how old are you now? Well, those are pretty big problems. Munchausen. So you're in your 30s. So you know what it's like to live in the real world. Nobody has to tell you how hard it can be. Just making ends meet. So do you think you want to raise young ones? I think anybody who wants to be a parent should be examined psychologically to make sure that they would be a good parent. We have too many bad parents, and the examples that have come forth from them. But also, they should have had to raise successfully a couple of puppies. If you can't handle a puppy, you cannot handle a child. You're still young enough to keep making that happen, so be careful. Now, I did not have a choice in my pregnancy, but I have no regrets that I lost it. And I'm never gonna regret not having children. And I'm 71, I'll be 72 next month. I've never regretted that choice. I made that decision when I was young, and it never changed. I knew, I knew young. I knew before I was 18. And if I had any doubts when I was out on the street and I saw teenage parents, and then I saw other people who were parents and how they were raising their kids and what they were going through, and all the, I love my kids, but if I had to do it all over again without knowing my kids, because I love them now, I would not have kids. I would have done something different. I would have traveled. I would have gotten into my art. I wouldn't have gotten married. I mean, I hear a lot of that. I've heard a lot of that over my entire life. It's like, people really should think about what they do before they jump into something, because when we're young, the problem is hormones. Our hormones make us want to have a baby. I know that because I never wavered from my decision. But when I was still having, menstrual cycles, I remember one month I had this desire to have a baby. I had a desire to have a baby so bad, I almost went out looking for somebody to help me. I got a grip on myself, and nothing happened. But that was just biology. That's just like a flower making seeds. It's a pollination thing, and it's a drive. And young people are full of those hormones, making them do shitty things and crazy things that are not necessarily a good idea for them while they're young. Oh, have we? I've had it with a few people over the years, so not surprising. Anyway, well, you know where I stand on that. But as creatures, I think they're all interesting. If I had it all to do again, I'd still choose dogs and cats. And if I knew more about them early on, rats. I really wish I could have raised some rats. And the squirrels. I would have done squirrel rescue like my friends did. Yeah, you got to watch out for people in their 20s and 30s. Their biological clock is a real thing, and they don't even know it half the time. They just go seeking, seeking, seeking. Little radar out. So yeah, we're animals, We're going to have these impulses and desires. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just you need to be aware of it so you don't make a decision or have an accident that's going to affect you the entire rest of your life. Well, as long as they live and you live, so some people are lucky and they have fabulous relationships with their parents. I've had 4 parents, 2 step-parents, 2 real parents, actually multiple stepfathers now, 3 of them. No, a father and 2 stepfathers, what am I saying? So, I've been around a lot of different people growing up, and the 3rd stepfather I didn't meet until I was already out on my own and an adult, so he treats me completely differently than he ever treated my younger sisters, who were just very needy of my mother and her money. And I was always, I don't need you for anything material. Thank you, I can take care of myself. Yes, but usually the time to ask is, well, no, anytime. Anytime, because every age has its cute things and the things that really drain the shit out of you. I had a friend, I knew her 45 years. I knew her kids, and I knew her kids better than average because when she was freaking out and couldn't get her shit together to make dinner and couldn't get off the couch because she was depressed, I took care of the kids. I did the homework with them. I was calm. I was quiet. When I wanted their attention, I spoke like this. I almost whispered. And she was a screaming Mimi. So she was driven to the edge of her rope with two kids who were really, they were just normal kids. I didn't see anything bad about them at all. Yeah, my stepfather is now 95 and he's in a nursing home in Florida. I send him a painting. That's what I'm doing right now. I send him a painting at least once a week, and um, I've tried talking to him, but he's not much for talking, especially right now. He's winding down, you know what I mean? And he's not getting enough mental stimulation. But his son is nearby and his daughter-in-law, and you know, they make sure that he's comfortable and well taken care of, so. But my whole family is pretty emotionally screwed balls, so, you know, they all have their stuff. Except for the ones like me. Well, we have our stuff too, but we got therapy. We did not want to be following in the footsteps of disturbed people. So, yeah, I started looking and getting help very young. It's like, I don't want to be like that. Oh, I put the spray bottle in the kitchen. I needed to spray a loaf of bread. I made a loaf of bread yesterday, but it did not come out as I was hoping. It was a little more dense than I wanted. I made an English muffin bread. If it goes right, it's got a lot of holes in it. It's, you know, like it's got nooks and crannies when you cut a slice. This did not have nooks and crannies. It was as dense as a regular, like a whole grain white bread. It was not right. Tasted good. I made a slice to check it out, but it was supposed to be a gift, and now it's not going to be. Gary! Hello, darling. How are you? Are you home from work now, or you have to go in? So what are you doing today, Sancho? And Gary, if you're not having to work, what are you up to? Home now? Cool. Chillin', chillin'. I got a cookie today that I can recommend you don't waste your money on. I mean, it's acceptable, but not. I actually tried to get these chocolate mint cookies, but they were all out of stock. I don't know why they had a sale on them. White chocolate coconut. There is not a single drop of real coconut in this. It's got coconut distillates. And so that ingredient is at the end of the list. Natural flavors includes coconut distillate. So they made a distillation of coconut. Like, what is that? Coconut liquor? And that's what flavors the cookie. But the texture of it is what fooled me. I love Milanos, so I'm familiar with the texture. This is different. And I thought, this looks like it might have coconut meal in it. Not a drop. No desiccated coconut. And the flavor is, it doesn't taste all that. It tastes like coconut, yes, but also has a hint of coconut extract. On the other hand, it has a nice taste in the mouth when you're done. It's not like a chemical taste, so I mean, it's not all bad. I won't be buying them again. It did make me think about what I can bake in the kitchen. I even have a coconut cake mix that I can turn into really good cookies. Oh, I'm glad you got some sleep. My sleep always fluctuates, but I did better the last 2 nights. Matter of fact, I did so well. I'm gonna have to say that these videos I've been listening to, there are very few that are loud enough without my hearing aids in. So I can't listen to things as I'm going to sleep. So if I want to go through like a hypnotherapy session or a meditation that's led, or meditation music, I have to have my hearing aids in. But there's one that has rain and a black screen, basically. It just looks like black and little white stars. It doesn't move, nothing dramatic. And it just has, I think it's like manifestations. But it goes on for like 8 hours. So last night I was listening to it. When I woke up to go to the bathroom sometime in the middle of the night, I turned it off. It was still going. And then I just went back to sleep. And when I got up this morning, I didn't dawdle. Like, I've got this new habit. I'm trying to make sure I like delay my caffeine in the morning so that my hormone levels don't rise, because that's how your blood pressure goes up in the morning. So the first thing in the morning is sip water. So I sit there and I drink water now for an hour and a half before I get up and do the tea or anything with caffeine. And then I'll make, breakfast of some kind. Today, I had half a bottle of water and then I was up. I was like, get up. Went ahead and made myself some cream of wheat of all things. And just got moving. So, hold on a second. Let me see if I can tell you exactly what video that is. I don't think I watched too much this today. I don't want to lose this. I don't know who that is. Oh, okay, I got somebody in blue sky. People are trying to talk to me, even though I'm really clear on I don't want DMs. Just why? I don't go there. Okay, Okay, I have to catch up with the tiny type. And in addition to being mostly deaf, I'm also mostly blind. Milanos with the chocolate are my favorite, or actually mint Milanos are my favorite. But I've been not buying cookies lately because I'm trying to make my things. It's way cheaper, way healthier because I know what goes into them. I've got a whole bunch of ingredients to work with accumulated so that I don't need to go to the grocery store except for dairy for weeks at a time. You know, started growing my sprouts again, getting ready to. I just saw somebody growing sesame sprouts with black sesame, and I have black sesame, so of course I have to try that. So I'm trying to be as self-sufficient as possible for a person living in an apartment in a city. But anyway, those crackers I made with the rice and the sesame and the coconut were so good. I'm going to make those again. But there was a sale I was ordering. It was late at night. And that's how I ended up with these cookies, which are made the same way the Milanos are. Matter of fact, they're calling them Milano, but they're Milano coconut white chocolate, flavored with other natural flavors. You don't see that fine print when you're ordering online at night. All right. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to change the channel. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can find. Oh, I scrolled through things this morning. All right. Let me see something else here. I have a meditation that I put on 1 hour a day. Gary, I sent it to you, in fact, and I sent it to Doc. Motivation to get things done. Minds in Unison is the channel here on YouTube. And it's a 1 hour, 9 second background. Well, it's very motivational. You don't hear it, of course, it's supposed to be subliminal. And that is what it looks like. So let me go back to us. Anyway, that is really good. But there's another one, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to tell you what it is, but it's one of those things that scrolls, a manifestation, blah, 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 blah. I'll try and post it. It's also here on YouTube, of course. So I think it's working. I think it's helping me. So I slept much better the last 2 nights, and both days, 2 days in a row at least, I woke up. I mean, I'm always enthusiastic. I don't always get out of bed and start doing things around the house. But it seemed like kind of the way an ADD person goes from room to room and does things. Everywhere I looked, I saw something that needed doing. I just did it and floated around, one thing after another. It was like, da, 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 da. You know, it's like, well, the water's heating up, and meanwhile, I can do this. So I was getting a lot done, which was surprising. Well, the thing about meditation, Sancho, you really only need a few minutes first thing in the morning before you get out of bed, and a few minutes as you're falling asleep. And it doesn't have to be a meditation on anything specific. At bedtime, one of the best things you can do is when you're getting cozy, pay attention to that. Get into it. Like, I'm appreciating and happy that my pillow feels so good, or my blanket is so soft, or my bed is so comfortable. Point out to yourself what's good in your environment at the moment. And while you're feeling that way, that's how you'll fall asleep. And if you fall asleep in a good place, you wake up in a good place. So before jumping up, think about how good it feels. Maybe stretch, get up and pee, go back to bed for a few minutes. We were never meant, I mean, there are people who make it a practice, we're never meant to spend all day in meditation. That's something that monks do when they don't have the regular kind of society that we have. They have their own society. They have, just like cloistered nuns, they've got their own reality, and it works for them. But if you're in the practical world and you can't just spend the rest of your life tending a herb garden and sitting in meditation, you can get everything that you need to get done as it comes up without pressure. If you just like focus on how you feel. Well, of course, yes, mindfulness, being aware. Now, one thing that's been scientifically proven that if you spend 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day, just sitting and being grateful, thinking about what you have to be grateful for, until you feel yourself kind of, open up with love, get to that point 3 times a day, your immune system has been proven to be heightened by like at least 50%, 50 to 85% improved. People who are sick or fighting cancer or anything like that, they need to know that they can change their chemistry through that kind of directed meditation. Well, again, you can reach where you need to go in seconds. When you are an experienced meditator, I had no problem meditating when I was standing up on a subway holding onto a strap. I could be gone and come back. So you can walk and meditate. There are walking meditations. It's, if you've been practicing mindfulness, you know what I'm talking about. The pressure to create a practice that because we think we're supposed to, that's the worst thing we can do to ourselves. Do it as you're led to it. Not everybody needs to spend every day 15 minutes a day. Like I said, if I was just focused on healing my body, then I would make time 3 times a day. Well, I already do morning and night, but I would make a time in the middle of the afternoon to just pull away from everybody, sit down in 15 minutes. But I can achieve that state that I'm trying to achieve in the first place by doing something that makes me feel really good and getting into it, that focus. Okay, like felting, wet felting. One of the things you'll notice with wet felting is the concentration. Like once you start, it is focus. It's all about your focus. You can't be here, there, and everywhere when you're trying to create a felted piece, because every step of the way, you need to be paying attention. You're doing something very specific and weaving these wool fibers together without a needle and thread. You're making it seem like, or you're helping them think that they belong together, like they're, no, that's it, they belong together. Oh, the glasses, that's wonderful. Yeah, you don't want to, I can't sit in the sun because of my medicine, but I'm not a big sun worshiper anyway. I used to be able to tell by my pallid face. Let's see, what is it here? 37. That's the warmest, and it's warmer than it was expected. All right. Unfortunately, that snow is not going anywhere. We still have at least a foot of it on the ground. Much more in the drifts, of course, or where the plow put it. Legs will get tired for a couple of different reasons, but one of the things you should be wearing are compression socks. Anybody that's on their feet a lot, really, anybody that's got to walk around a lot, you need to wear compression socks because your calf muscles are like the second heart in your body. They're pumping your blood back up to your heart. So your heart spreads it out, but it's got a long way to go to your feet. It comes back up after it goes to the toes, right? It comes back up. Your calves are responsible for that. So, yeah, you need to support them. It sounds like you are following some kind of meditation program if you're trying to work up to 15 minutes. Is that just practicing and controlling your body and telling it, I am not my body, sit still, ignore the distractions? Because that's a good practice too. Matter of fact, if you're into Dr. Joe Dispenza's works at all, he leads some meditations that go on for hours. He also has produced miracles. People have produced miracles in their bodies by that kind of focus. So, yeah, I wish I had the money for going on one of his retreats. Oh, I always benefit from meditation. I sleep better because I do that before I go to bed. And my days are more cheerful because I do it first thing in the morning. I'm just saying that one doesn't have to spend a specific amount of time. Sometimes you get what you need within minutes. Well, there have been times I've gotten it in seconds. It's basically a time that you pull aside from the world so that you can download yourself. And sometimes that happens really fast. And sometimes it's just getting a lot of restless and having to get up and go about your day. I mean, I've been teaching and telling people about meditation for 18 years, so I'm obviously not going to speak against it. I'm just saying we restrict ourselves. We give ourselves these rules that are really very arbitrary. We know certain chemical reactions happen after a certain amount of time of meditation, but that is if you achieve a certain level in that meditation. And sometimes that can be achieved without having to sit there like that, but by playing tennis, getting your blood pumping. So, yeah, listen to your inner guidance. It'll tell you what you need in the moment rather than, project on what you think you need and try to follow something that might not be comfortable that day. I think we're just going to leave that. It's just a note card. I'll be writing something on the back of it. Oh, good. I like when the signature disappears into the paint. Yeah, you were there for plenty of meditations, Gary. 3 times a week. Let's get a little bit more water. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just nod off. Nothing wrong with that either. You know, it's like, what are you trying to achieve? Really? I want to achieve peace and connection with my higher self. So I assume the connection with my higher self is going to occur as long as I stay relaxed. Is it still? It's hard to tell, Gary. Since I lost so much of my hearing, I find myself speaking louder than necessary, especially if I get excited. Any tips for 18-year-olds in life? Don't be hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't judge others. Be kind. And be patient. You're just a pea in a pod right now. Give yourself a chance to figure out what you want. You may want to do 100 different things. The smarter you are, the more things you're going to want to try. What area of life, dearie? I'm 72 almost. I got lots of advice. I mean, you want tips on how to plant a garden, grow sprouts, make homemade medicine, sew your own clothes. Don't ask me for that. I don't not sew. Make sure you make a career choice. Don't hurry into relationships. You're telling an 18-year-old not to hurry into a relationship? Their hormones are begging for it. Move cautiously, but not paranoidly. You don't know. What made you ask in the first place, honey? 18 is a tough age. The world makes it feel like now you're suddenly responsible for it. You're free and clear of that. You're not responsible for this world, and you never will be. You're responsible for your own choices and the consequences of your actions as they play out. But you're not responsible for making other people happy. And other people are not responsible for making you happy. And if you can learn that, that's a really important lesson. Then it's not a good career. A lot of people have to go to college or try their things out to discover that's not for them. Not everything we first think of is going to be the right choice. And if other people have been volunteering ideas for our choices and we feel pressure, it's even more of a false choice. So try everything, like Shakira said. Give it a shot if you feel like it, and if you don't let it bring you down. There's a million other things in this world that you can do. And if you don't give yourself a chance to try some of them, you'll never know. So don't suppress your curiosity. Find out what else you can do. I thought I was going to go to college to be a scientist. a biologist specifically, and specifically studying the brain. I was all about the brain, not the psychological parts. I was looking for the seat of consciousness, and I thought I'd find it in the physical brain, or at least wanted to eliminate that. But the year that I wanted to do that, I became homeless instead by surprise. And I ended up on the street at 17. So I didn't go to college, and I did not become a biologist. But it worked out for the best because, as it turns out, if I had followed that path that I dreamt about and even studied French for years because I wanted to go to study in France, if it had happened, I would not have been happy, because it's now in this age, the young people, they have the tools to discover what I was hoping to discover. That didn't exist back then. I was interested essentially in neurobiology, microneurobiology. They weren't studying that back in my day, so I would have been disappointed. I would have gone through all of that education to hit my dead end, and then I would have been sitting there going, now what do I do with my life after devoting all these years to this study? So sometimes we have to make a wrong turn to get to the right one. There is no end goal. Oh, I'm glad you asked that. You did come to the right place. There is no end goal. You are here, believe it or not, to be guided by your feelings, to have a good time. That does not mean stepping on others for a good time or using people to have a good time. You are here to create your tomorrows. You're here to create a future, not wait for it to happen or have somebody give it to you. The adventure is you being born in this timeline with this body and this brain. The challenge is, what can you do while you're here? One of the sadder sounds in life. We make ourselves crazy trying to live up to other people's expectations, but when somebody tells you something and it feels wrong in your gut, in your heart, it feels like the wrong choice, then it is the wrong choice. It may be the right choice for somebody else, but in the moment, it's not the right choice for you. You will learn to trust your feelings if you want to have a happy life. And that means in any direction, any field, you need to learn to recognize your inner voice. You need to learn who's talking to you, which is you. And then you can learn to trust yourself in the moment. You don't need to know the whole path, because the path isn't all laid out. The path changes as you make choices. Matter of fact, my third book is about that exact thing. Every time you make a choice, you open up a whole spider web of new options, new possibilities. And the minute you make a choice, all the ones you could have made fall away like dust. And then you are on a new path, and trillions, billions, millions, unknown numbers of opportunities form around your new direction. And the minute you make a choice, that one step forward, everything not chosen falls away. And you make a new choice. And that's how we live our lives, one step at a time. Yeah, we can make plans. Like, I know I'm going to plan to finish this. I'm planning to write a note in the back of it. I'm planning to mail it. So yeah, I'm making my plans. So, up to, I know I'm going to bake something tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to bake something else. I know I'm going to do my chores and laundry. So yeah, you do plan some stuff, but you don't have to plan your whole life, because it's going to keep changing. Circumstances that are not in your control are going to change. But if you stay fluid, then you will be able to move with the tide without getting drowned. You need to be able to move in the moment and not be cemented to any one path. When you're young, you need to stay most fluid of all. When you get older, our fears that are put upon us usually make us more rigid. It's harder to bend. It's harder to be open to new possibilities, because we start getting fixed ideas of how things should be or what we thought we wanted. So you need to learn to stay a little bit looser Never say yes when you feel no. And so that's number one lesson. Never say yes when you feel no about anything. What to eat, who to date, whether or not to have sex or do a drug or drink a cup of coffee. If it feels like a no, it's a no. No need to second guess that. That is your higher self. That is your intuition. That's your spirit telling you, nah, that's not going to pay off as well as you would hope. Chill out a minute and see how you feel about this later or tomorrow or maybe never again. You have to learn to trust yourself and you'll be all right. Because no matter how old you get, you will never get it all done. You can live to be 200 years old and you still will not be able to do every single thing you want to try and see and taste and make. You just won't. That's how big the world is. Maybe a small planet and we have to learn to get along, but it's still a vast universe and still expanding, and we're at the front lines. So give yourself a break. Don't listen to everybody who just passes by with thoughts on how you should live your life. You learn to discern, and then you don't have to worry about being steered in the wrong direction. I hope that helped. That's a lot to take on a first visit to me. Gary here, Red Neon's been following me for 18 years. Anytime. I'm always here on Sunday. The rest of the week, I never really know, but it seems like it's turning out mostly around this time of day, 3, 4 in the afternoon in my time. I'm in Connecticut, USA, so for me it is 4:31. Yeah, enjoy the little things in life because that's really what life is made of. Those little things, not everything has to be a big production. My happiest years were not rich years, and I have been on that end of the spectrum as well. My happiest years were on the farm in North Carolina, 7 miles away from the nearest road. It was so quiet there, months could go by without ever hearing a siren, which I now hear at least once a day. I had 4 or 5 dogs at a time, a couple of cats. They made me laugh every day. I loved that. I loved growing things. I loved the creek in the backyard. As far as I was concerned, I was living in heaven. Yeah, the things that we come here for. We don't come here for money. Money is a game. We come here to find our joy. Nobody finds joy in just seeing a number in their account if they don't do anything with it. They're not appreciating what money can buy. And unfortunately, these days, people are making money on the labor of other people who are not making any money. So there's a great deal of inequality at the moment, and depending on where you live, but in USA, it sucks for most people. And, we only have ultimately ourselves to blame, but also the cure lies within us. So kind of Laura Ingalls, much older than Laura Ingalls, more like Doc on Little House of the Prairie, but I loved growing my own things. I loved making my own things. I wove my own curtains. I did all kinds of things that I couldn't do when I lived in the city. Certainly couldn't have all those dogs. To be able to walk with my pack through the woods, we had 1,000 acres. 1,000 acres that we could roam freely. Yeah, I was in heaven. It was unfortunate. I was married to a narcissist, so that did not work out. But I did have 17 years there, and I loved it. I loved being in that environment. It was very healing for me. A little house, little house. Yeah. Okay, think of it this way, honey, with bored. They used to say that boredom was a result, well, I would say, think of this as a challenge. It used to be only dumb people got bored. Because when people have intelligence, they tend to get curious. Being on the phone is not a bad thing. The question is, what are you doing on the phone? If you're young and you're only 18 and you have been basically raised in an environment of, it's a digital world for you. I was alive and busy on the original internet, but I was into computers 10 years before the invention of the internet. So you don't know what that was like. You don't know what it was like having to learn a language to speak to your computer, because you were born into a Windows world. What you see is what you get, right? I like all those environments. Look, I'm a New Yorker. I love the city. But you know what? The city's best for young people who have the energy to run around in it. And that's when I ran around in the city when I was a young person. At this age, it was a schlep. It was tiring to walk all those blocks that I used to skip around on and sing in the middle of the night, It was not the same 50 years later. But I love to look at my different environments. There's something I can appreciate everywhere. Like when we moved to a mill building where they used to make steam engines. They had turned that building into apartments, and the apartments were only for artists. They would not let you buy into it unless you were an artist. But you also had to be an artist who was making $43,000 a year minimum. We were not that kind of artists. Obviously, you grow up with the environment you grow up with, so you become used to that immediately. You don't know anything else. Gary, you had a bike. I hiked. I had a kayak. But that was also after the internet. The internet happened while I was out on the farm. So I was already enjoying my wonderful life in the middle of nowhere, learning about foraging and canning and growing and harvesting and pollinating and da 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 da. I liked all that stuff. And every time, I wrote my first book there. And then when I moved to the city in Pennsylvania, I wrote the second book. Different environment, different circumstances. Everywhere you go, there's going to be something different to explore and look at and find the beauty in. But if you don't challenge yourself to find the beauty, you're going to be bored. Bored means you're not being challenged enough. You're not challenging yourself enough. Your environment is not challenging you enough. Your career choice is not challenging you enough. Your hobbies, what do you do for a hobby? How do you express yourself? If it's only on the phone, then yeah, I'd say unplug, honey. You're not going to make friends, real friends, that way. The phone's great to keep up with people who are actually real friends, and you know them in person. Long distance, you don't really know what you're getting. We do. We have trains going right across our country. We have trains, we've got planes, we've got lots of roads for the cars, and we've got interstate highways and freeways all over the country. If you look at a map, it's very connected. It's very connected. The problem is in the country, like where I was living in North Carolina, they did not have, they were just country folk. They didn't even have roads. When I moved there, I moved into my place 1 year after they finally paved the road. It had just been a dirt road for all of its over 200 years. It was just a dirt road with some gravel on it. So when you're way out there and there's no financial interest, no one is making roads. No one has the money to run those big machines and lay out tarmac. So yeah, the way back stuff is the last to be developed. And in some places, you know, that's changing rapidly. Where I was living, I saw hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of old woods being torn down, and I cried while that was going on. But this other thing it did was it opened up the view, and suddenly people who'd been isolated like tribes, and they weren't tribes, they were just isolated families, suddenly they're seeing that there are neighbors. A different world. I can go coast to coast by train. Now, it used to be direct from New York to California, but now it's not because we lost part of a hub. But I can still go by train if I want to pay all that money. I would have to go take a train from my state, Connecticut. I'm near Boston and New York. I'd have to go to Chicago, and from Chicago change trains to a train that would take me to, I think, San Francisco. And then I could take a train down. We also have bus routes, Greyhound buses, things like that. Yeah, you have a very tiny town. Mine, when I lived in North Carolina, my town was 4,000. But it was so spread out, you would never believe there were 4,000 people around because it was a big county. Oh, maybe dark blue. Now, when I moved to California, I've lived all over the country. When I lived there, the first thing that struck me were the palm trees. I grew up with maple and oak, and suddenly there's these big things that just go straight up and pom-poms on the top. They look like crazy paintbrushes. What do I think of Trump? Where are you from? I'll answer truthfully. You tell me where you're from. Ah, okay. Um, hmm. Monsieur Trump, il est grosse gross, stupid. I genuinely wanted to go to school at La Sorbonne, Paris. So, yes. Cool. Well, yes, I agree. He is a piece of shit, as we say here. He's a pedophile, when most of the country and most of the world is praying for him to have an aneurysm or a stroke as soon as possible. And the only people who aren't are guilty of screwing the public. So there you go. My straight up opinion, because you asked. Remember, you asked. Yes. Oui. I know that every country has its problems, and we were hardly innocent or without problems before him, but he has contributed significantly to our decline, our becoming impoverished, and to fueling hate, all to cover up for his many crimes and racism and sexism and misogyny. He hates women, he hates people of color. They're just votes that he hopes to have. I would love to fire him. Alas, we must wait. Vive la résistance. That's it. Oh, because we have a minority in power. A minority is in power. They hate women. They're trying to deprive women of the vote. They want us to have no power whatsoever, no jobs. They're giving advice like have babies and marry a rich man. Okay, they're stupid. Totally. So that's, yes. You see, I was one of those people that fought for women's rights back in the 60s. I fought for race rights back in the 60s. So that this is happening now, that I'm in my 70s, is very disturbing indeed. And I try not to make my channel about that, because my channel is about teaching higher energy rules. I teach in private, mostly advanced, well, only advanced students, but here it's everybody. It's not so low key. They're trying to nationalize our elections so they can control them, because they know they lost. They've already lost. The Republicans cannot win. They're losing every local election in every state. If one more person on the Republican side of Congress or the Senate quits, we'll win the majority before Trump's even out of office. So here's to hoping. Well, I'm glad that you did. Now, I am totally an American. I want to see us successful as we could have been if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz got in. But instead, we got morons and criminals and rapists and sex traffickers, pornographers, check bros who own the world and monopolize everything. So, you know, it's going to take a decade to dig our asses out of this mess and try and establish ourselves as part of the world again, because you know what he's been doing, what diplomacy. He doesn't know what diplomacy is. He's a bully. He's a narcissistic bully who wears too much makeup. Okay, well, it's not really so important. That's where they want our attention, so that we're fighting with each other instead of fighting the real enemy. The real enemy are the oligarchs who control everything financially. That is the enemy. And making us fight each other is just the game that they're playing with us. So the rich are playing us. Yeah, there you go. You got it. You know what's going on. The thing is, we do know what's going on, and we are working to change it, but we don't have the legal majority. But so far, pretty much every case Trump has actually fought in court has lost. He's just distracting us from the Epstein's files. Say it loud and say it clear. It's all about who we found. His name is in that over 5,000 times. No, you're not. You're not powerless. That's the mistake people make. You don't know what your power is. You will learn. The big concern is people becoming afraid, because that's their gig. Their whole thing is about making people fearful. And then you have people like me who have seen so much shit in life. We're not afraid, we're angry. So no, I'm not afraid, and I will die for this country if that's what I'm called for. Yes, our power is in numbers, but our power is also in energy. If you notice, the name of my stream today is one in focus is equal to 100,000 who are not in focus. And that is the truth. Our ability to focus our energy on what we desire changes our timelines. You can even skip to a different timeline, and only you will realize when it happens, because everybody else doesn't see it. But then you forget about it, you put it out of your mind, and you think, oh God, it must have been my imagination. You don't even think about it ever again. But then it happens again, and then you realize, how come this can't be? I know this happened. I had confirmation. I know this happened. Now it looks like we didn't have this happen. We have more ability to switch things around than you would even begin to imagine right now. Just my original advice when you walked in, you want to know good tips at 18, seek what gives you joy. The higher your vibration, the better it's going to be for you. And things improve for you, they inevitably are going to improve for things around you. That's why everyone is important. Wherever you are in the world, it doesn't matter. No, you cannot do anything about our American president. You're not even in our country. But if you sit here getting upset about him, you're not helping. You're not helping you, and you're not helping our situation, because you're not seeing a solution. You have to be able to rejoice, emotionally rejoice, feel joy in seeing and feeling a solution to a problem for it to work. That's where the focus comes in. Iron Bear, hello darling. Glad to see you. My wandering son from Sweden. And my little Swedish meatball. How are you? Young one, think positive, but not like fake thoughts. That doesn't do anything. Just thinking positive things does not do anything, okay? That was an old thing. It's not an understanding that the emotion must change. You have to feel about it, The feeling must match the thought. You can't think happy thoughts. It's like putting a fake smile on. You think the universe doesn't know what you're doing? You have to actually elevate yourself. And if you don't elevate yourself, you're not making any changes. So that is the focus. Focus isn't trying to control your environment. It's about you controlling you, your energy. Lift yourself. You will bring others with you. When you rise, so does everyone. So if you're thinking about, let's say, the pollution in the ocean, as soon as we start to think about just the pollution, the answer to that is born. You may not be the one that delivers the answer, but the answer is made available. And if you go to sleep one night and say, you know what, tomorrow I want to see proof. I want to see evidence of the ocean healing. I want to see evidence that we are paying attention to the problem. We're doing something about it. And then when you wake up, you'll see, and go on YouTube, you will see pretty fast something to show you that the world is working out. It's not all doom and gloom. You can change it with your thoughts. You attract like a magnet through your feelings. So if you're on a bummer, if you're feeling depressed, don't try and create anything, because you're going to go backward. When you are having a good time, when you smell a beautiful flower, when you've eaten a wonderful meal, when you're feeling all warm and cozy, at that point you can go, oh, I want to see happy people. I want to see proof that love is real in this world. I want to see some evidence of love. And then just let it go. It only takes a couple seconds. But you've got to get your energy up there to feel the real thing without it having to be in your face. Feel it. And then you will see proof of what I'm saying. You can't understand this until you see it working right there in your face. Try it. Well, I'm glad you're at least motivated. But you're really never lost. You may not know where to go in this moment, but you will. Have no fear. Ah! Whoa, Iron Bear. Ah. Whoa. Did you have anything saved to any clouds? I mean, the loss of an expensive setup is bad enough, but sometimes I see you after things explode. For a while, you had a broken phone screen. Oh, you gotta stop doing that. What's going on with your magnetism? Your personal magnetism. Oh, no. Well, I'm glad you found me again. Yeah, the only part of Facebook still alive is just to keep my SimCity account, but since the piece of shit just bought EA, I'm not sure. I've already decided I'm not spending any more money there, and that kind of ruins some of the game, but I'm using an island in one of my regions on SimCity to work out some logistics without having to draw them, because I'm working on Numeris 3. Number 3! Yes, a trilogy. You have been missed. Red Neon is Gary, Mr. Gary. Gary, what was your name way back when? I forget. I'm really glad to see you. You know who we're missing and we haven't heard from in too long is Devil Boy. And that just breaks my heart. Yeah, wait until, I don't know if Maui's around. Gary loves you. Okay, Doc, aka Maui Sky Bluey. He was following us. Yeah, we went all around. So we were on Twitch, and then I quit Twitch because of who owns it. When I quit Prime, Amazon, and stopped shopping online at Amazon. So, yeah, some of my contacts kind of disappeared. But I'm glad that you're here, you're alive. Now, aside from the disaster and the digital shit, how about your personal life? You see anybody? And are you still at the same job? It's been quite a while. Oh, what I'm doing here is not art. I'm making little cards for my 95-year-old stepfather in Florida in a nursing home, and my little old lady friend here who's about to turn 99 in a nursing home. And so I send her 2 to 3 paintings a week, and my stepfather gets 1 painting a week. Because every time I send him, he says, you know, you should be making this into an album. I know. And then I got a confirmation he was alive only because he opened a Christmas card I sent. Digital Christmas cards, you know? And then never heard anything since then. I know. Yeah, Iron Bear, you were there. You know about that. But the town got together and got him a trailer to live in with his dog, Sugar. But he had to park in his sister's driveway, and that was not easy because it was in Texas, hellishly hot. And his sisters were both Republicans, and he was a Democrat during a time that just sucked to be a blue dot in a red state like that. Except they just elected a Democrat for the Senate. Senate now has 1 more Democrat in it. As I said, if they keep dropping out and we keep having elections, we're not even going to have to wait till November to take the houses. We're winning every election. Every time Trump endorses somebody, they lose. That's what I'm saying. Rest of the world, please try and be patient. Defend yourself if need be, because our leadership is insane. Most of the country is not as crazy, and we don't follow him, and we're protesting. We haven't broken out the guns because we don't want a civil war and his ability to turn the military against us. So we're trying to keep our tempers. It's really hard sometimes, especially once, you know, he's exposed to be the pedophile and sex trafficker that he really is and was. We want arrests. And now this puts us in a really weird position because we want our president not just arrested for the crimes against America in general and the world in general, like in Venezuela and El Salvador. So yeah, we've got a lot of straightening out to do here, but it's going to take a little while, and hopefully it's not going to get as violent as it feels. We're trying to remember who the real enemy is, and it's not each other. So it's our oligarchs. So I read what you said there. Okay. Oh, same job, haven't run over my... Oh, that's good, that's good. Did little hearts go across your screen? Because I can't see anything. Anyway, some stuff, same old, same old. Let's see, I don't know, where was I living when I last saw you? Was I living across the street in a single room, freezing my ass off with an electric heater? Or sweating my ass off with one air conditioner in one room? I had the whole place, but it wasn't well insulated. I moved across the street, and I got an apartment, which turned out to be the penthouse apartment. I can't say it's luxurious, it's not. It's, well, it's an apartment building, but I'm on the top floor, on a corner, so I have extra windows behind me, and a window in my kitchen. So, and nobody above me, and nobody on the other side of me, because that's where the fire stairwell is. So, like, mine is the quietest apartment in the entire building. I'm really lucky. So, I'm very happy. And the only thing I'm not happy about is I haven't figured out the problem between my telephone and YouTube. I was doing successful little videos in the kitchen and showing people how to make some little things. And then suddenly around Christmas, something changed and I sound like a gerbil on speed and it makes no sense and I can't have these little videos. So I'm back here stuck at my desk and I can't take you into the kitchen to show you how I make English muffins. Oh, okay. So I was in Pennsylvania and then I moved to Connecticut. And when I first moved here, I was living across the street in a townhouse that an old friend of mine owned because it was during COVID. I moved here actually the day Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, our liberal Supreme Court Justice. And since she died, things have been really bad. So yeah, I lived across the street for the first year and a half during all the shutdowns, lockdowns and all that. And then finally, I had to leave there because they developed the COVID vaccine and the person who let me stay there decided I needed to leave so she could charge the full amount of rent. So you can live here forever at that amount of money. I'm fine. I own it and it's all paid off. But thank you so much for saving my life. Get out. They have a vaccine now. Thanks a lot. Anyway, I found this place, which has been like heaven compared to any of that. So no sour grapes. I'm really happy here. It has been a while because since I moved here, for 3.5 years, I led a positivity group. I had a class every Tuesday morning. I just quit in October, last October. It's like, okay, it's been 3.5 years. Everybody that was in the group, we got them engaged with their things that they need to be engaged with. They don't need me anymore. And I'm here, I live here. If they need me as a friend, I'm here. But if they need me for the group, I can probably direct them to another place. Yes, I'm only working with advanced people now, in private. Anyway, I've been here for almost 2 hours, so I'll be leaving soon. But before I go, let me show you what I'm doing because I'm really psyched. Oh yeah, this is... Okay, you know what? Ironberry, you know what, back when I was with Annie and we had the Brass Ovary radio show, 2 psychic readings for free each, you called in and both of us gave a person a reading. Well, she's writing her 3rd book. Oh, that's nice. The sun is about gone here. Anyway, Annie's writing her third book, and it's about getting to be an old hippie and still wanting to garden, but the knees don't want you to garden, so you've got to find ways around it. So I showed her about making, growing your own celery from the bottom stump of celery, so that you can grow on a counter and still have stuff that normally, like if you're cooking for yourself, you don't need that much celery, so you can grow it in pots indoors and pretty much never buy another thing of celery again. You don't get B vitamins from the sun. That's activating your vitamin D, honey. D, which is good for your liver. Getting my B vitamins. Anyway, I did a drawing for Annie's book, and she wants me to do another one. So that's something else. I was started to do this to make a collage, where I was going to have a bowl of soup down here and the celery growing, and then a little start of the celery so they knew what they were doing. But the way she's doing the book is like anecdotal things, so we decided more of the like sketchy stuff. So she wants me to do something to demonstrate growing sprouts. And I grow sprouts 2 ways, in jars and in trays. So I will experiment, and I've got a couple more weeks to deliver. So only one down and one to go. But I'm very flattered that she likes it. She likes the style. We're good, we're good. Can't find Danny in Denmark right now. I don't know what happened to him. I've been concerned about him now for over a month, because I got a message that his Nana crossed over, somebody in his family passed, and haven't been able to connect with him since then. So that was before Christmas. So yeah, I don't know. That's a problem with, all my children all over the world. You're all over the world, and I don't have your phone numbers. I just have to email, and if I don't get back anything in your in my email, then what can I do? It's not like I can come visit. But I'm so glad to see you, because I have been thinking of you, and actually, I think I even took the dragon deck and brought that up front for you. So I have it. All my decks are over there right now across the room, because this became my, art stuff. Oh, let me show you something else. I have a canvas over here that's 4 foot tall. The light is too bad to show you, otherwise I'd swing the camera around, but it's 4 by 3 feet, and basically this is like a miniature version. The big one is much better and a nicer yellow, but I've been practicing on this little one because I'm doing 3-dimensional stuff on it with paper, so it's like I'm making paper clay directly onto the canvas. But the flowers were a challenge, and still are, because I was trying to hold their fluffiness. Each flower is made out of 1/2 of one slice of toilet paper, like the 2-ply. Well, it's half of one of those plies, and so it's very light. And I was trying to get this uplifted look so that light can travel through it, because acrylic is so opaque. So I'm using watercolors and acrylic ink to let the light through. But the problem is, once I have all these flowers, I wanted it to look like the wind is taking the flowers, protecting it from dust. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I've got so much texture, but the desire to work with texture has been a long-standing one. So I found something finally to really get this out of my system, That or develop an entirely new hobby, and it's wet felting. Now, in the Scandinavian countries are very well familiar with felted everything. Felted vests, hats, mittens, socks, not socks, slippers, because felting is nice and cozy and warm, and it can be made so beautifully. So I started looking into it. But first I was looking into regular needle felting. But now I have to do this project because a friend of mine bought this for me so that I could try needle felting. So even though this is not something I would have gotten for myself, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it after it's done, because I'm not going to keep it, I would just as soon use a little bit of wool here into doing some wet felting. But I got a whole bag of little samples of wool, so I've got plenty to start with. I will do it. Let me go get them. Hello, where are you? Oh, I don't see the dragon one right now. I know I had it out here for you. I must have stuck it back in the box to keep it away from dust. But I've got something for old time's sake. Hold on. Oh, yes. Okay, for old time's sake, the original. Da, 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 da. Trust your vibes. And well-being. Trust Your Vibes was our original card of the day deck. So, which one would you like me to shuffle for you? I seem to be seeing, I am. There is a gnat. A gnat with one wing dead, I guess, because it hops like a flea. I do not have fleas. It's definitely not a flea. I know fleas. It's too small. It's like a gnat is trying to go up and then it can't. It's to my left. Trust Your Vibes. This is my left. I also have fortune cookies. Seeing as how I can't get the camera to read the right way, and it only gives me an option to flip it that way or that way. My left. Trust Your Vibes. Always a good choice. I'm so glad to see you. Gary, do you want a card as well? And anybody else who is here, would you like a card while I'm doing the cards? I will do a card for you, and then I'll go and make myself dinner. By the way, this week I made my first, well, not my first, but my first in more than a decade. Pickles. Refrigerator pickles. They're so good. I even dropped a little baby beet in and turned it pink. The universe has something to say to you, Iron Bear. Laugh, ha, 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 ha. Okay, this looks like a mask. And we are not suggesting that you laugh falsely. we suggest that you practice your smile until laughing becomes more easy to you, and you look for more things to laugh about. Lighten up. Now, understand you want the answer is simple. I have to go and get that. I just said this or that, but I'll do that for you, Gary. Anyway, laughter truly is the best medicine. The more we can laugh, the higher our vibration. So sustained laughter is of medicinal value. So try and lighten up. If something's been getting you down, see if you can find an answer to that. That was simple. And now, of course, he wants the answer is simple. It's simply on the other side of the room. I almost got it. Almost got it. And then I thought, oh, it's at the bottom of the stack. Oh my goodness, it's dark in here, isn't it? I think it's officially night here. The answer is simple. Yeah, Sonia Choquette and Abraham-Hicks are my favorite card people. After all of these years of reading cards, which is now oh my goodness, almost 69 years I've been reading cards. Holy moly. Anyway, of all the decks I have, I've got, I don't know, around 40 decks. These are my favorites. A half a dozen of them. Gary, say yes. You need a new adventure in your life. You need to say yes to some fun. Saying yes, even though it's being symbolized by a romantic situation here, is not necessarily romantic. To feel those good vibes, you got to say yes more often to things that normally you restrict yourself from doing. I'm not saying do anything risky or dangerous, obviously, or hang out with people who aren't really good for you. Nothing like that. You can do this by yourself. But if somebody says, hey, you in the mood to go see a movie, and they're not hitting on you, maybe it's time for you to just go ahead and enjoy a movie with somebody. You know what I mean? I know. Do you think it's trying to tell you something, Iron Bear? Because I let that card fall out of the deck without knowing what it was, of course. That'd be cheating. So, Gary, you need to do something new. You've got to try to stay open more. And I know that in your circumstances right now, that might not seem easy, but if you say yes to the universe, say yes, I want something to do to remind me that life is great. I want proof tomorrow that life is wonderful. And just let it flow. Don't try to make anything happen. Just go to work or stay home, whatever you're going to do. But start setting yourself up for that. The universe is here to help you. Good. Good. It's a good thing. Now I'll cut and take one too. Turn back, turn back. It always makes me think of the Labyrinth movie. Well, unfortunately, I'm not doing anything I have to turn back on. I haven't started my next project yet. When I start it, it has to be like right there. It's one of those things you can't quit right in the middle. You have to continue until you finish the piece. So that was fun. And I'm glad you have that feeling. So wait a minute, I see a note here. It's Doc. Doc just turned me into a chicken house. And Patty Duke. And Victorian time. What have you been doing today? Have you even gotten to the garden? He sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 AI pictures, but this one is the cutest. You're too much, Doc. All right, guys, you ready for laugh? There I am, covered in birds. I love them. I never thought of being a birdhouse. What got into you today? Let the light in. By my manager, she believes hard work should get. Ah, okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, you've already learned. And I'm glad your manager told you that. She believes you should be well paid for what you do. You are the hard worker, and other people who aren't working as hard should not be getting automatic rewards when you're not getting it. That's wonderful. Good. And those who did a thumbs up, thank you. I appreciate your support. It actually does make a difference on how my video appears in front of new people who are not yet subscribers. So, and you brought somebody in today with your thumbs up. So, yay. My chat disappeared. Hold on. I feel I have to stand up and read it over there because it's not on my phone now. Oh, there it is. I feel accomplished at work, which makes me feel good about myself. Yes, perfect. Feeling good about yourself is where it has to begin. You have to find the wonderful things about yourself because everyone has good things about themselves, about what they know is in their heart. The world can look down on them for whatever reason, but it's not the world that matters. It's what you think about you that's going to determine your future. If you think that you suck, or you're not deserving, or not worthy, guess what you're going to get? Nothing that you really are worthy of, because you're worthy of having everything you desire. You really are. And isn't it wonderful to feel that accomplishment because you've done it. You've earned you've earned your stripes. You've earned the respect because you did the work. And you've been at it for a while. You know what it is. I feel that too. It's a great feeling knowing that I've done a lot of different things in my life. And I don't think about it. I don't think about my life that way, but there are times when it's in my face, like last Friday. I was sitting at the creative circle with all these people, and we had a few extra people, which is not that unusual, but it's unusual that they really sit there for a while. And everybody that said something to me, I knew something about and was able to give them additional information. And I sat back and it's like, no, I'm not a know-it-all, but I do know a lot about a bunch of different things because I've done so many different things. So I love that. I love that. I feel special. If you feel like you suck, you get a vacuum cleaner. Well, I don't suck, but neither does my vacuum cleaner, so it's a broom I use. It's also handy for flying. So anyway, I would start this in front of you, but I'm gonna go and make dinner instead. Felting. Like I said, my friend gave this to me because I said I was interested, and now I have to make it. It's a good thing I care about her. But really, it's the felting I want to try. I would like to make myself a little something. So I cut this piece of plastic out, because the felt has to, the wool has to get laid out on your shape. And then when it gets to a certain point, you turn it over and you bring it up and you put more on, and you basically seal this inside. And then when you're done building up your felt on both sides, you cut it somewhere, wherever you want, and pull it out. And then you end up with a bowl or a purse, a pocket. So I'm happy if I feel sane today. Well, if you feel sane today, that's proof you can feel sane, and you can do it again tomorrow. I don't worry about my sanity. I know I'm sane. I'm crazy enough to know I'm sane. Don't waste time trying to analyze I'm crazy or I'm not crazy. Everybody has weird thoughts. That's a normal human brain thing. If you hang out with those thoughts and try to make them something out of them, you're going to make yourself crazy, yeah. Just keep moving. What makes you feel insane? Being around people you don't really want to be around. What makes you feel sane? Doing the things you love. It's your fault if you hang out with people who take away from your energy. That's what you have to start saying no to, because even thinking about them feels like no. That's a sign. Don't keep thinking about them or you'll attract them back into your world. You'll see them again and again because you keep thinking about them. Just go, if they pop in your head, go, fuck it. And think about something else that you want, or you want to see happen, or you like. Even if you just have to go look at a kitten video on YouTube. Change your point of attraction by changing your attention so you don't drive yourself crazy. Because the world can't make you crazy. You can only accept their version of the world, which can then make you crazy. But that's your fault if you accept their version over yours. Yeah, well, you're not anymore. So you can't blame them anymore, because you know the difference between what is sane and what isn't. The rats made you crazy. Now see, I would just have trained them. I like rats. Yeah, Iron Bear, we missed you. And your rubber room. I remember Iron Bear. I remember last time I did a language of light meditation. I can't remember the card, but I almost see it in front of me. Or watch cartoons. Yes, as long as it's something uplifting. If you turn your attention to things that suck or bring up sucky remembrances, you're hurting yourself. You're keeping yourself in a vibration that's not profitable emotionally or any other way. It's not profitable. Your physical health responds to your feelings. So you want to be happy. So your physical health improves. Oh, so lucky. They are very sweet animals. They are. And you do need a couple of them. If I was going to have rats now, I would have to get the large ones. The ones, I forget what they're called. They're big, and they live to be around 10 years old. They find mines. They're working rats. And then when they're, after so much time in the field, literally finding mines, they're retired as pets. I think it's like a pouch rat. I can't remember. My sister sent something to me on them, and it's like, oh my god, that's it. That is a rat for a pet. They're sweet. They're so smart. It's like having a little kid. I'll take a rat or a puppy over a child any day. So tomorrow is... What the hell is tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow's Wednesday, right? I stay hungry now. Sounds like you need a diet adjustment or get checked for tapeworm. Now that requires a stool sample. And if you haven't given a stool sample, they haven't checked you for tapeworm. I no longer am like that. No problem with my diet. I eat less, which is good because I don't need all the calories because I'm not that active anymore. And, you know, how much belly do I need at this age? So, well, but at least you're working in your garden, and if you need some peace, you can walk to the beach. That's a luxury for most people on the planet. And Gary, you've got your front porch. Is it a front porch or a back porch? I'm glad you had that experience. Rats are very special. That's good. That's good. You were talking about losing some weight, so not that you needed to lose much, but I'm sure you'll feel better. I can tell, not by how much I get on when I'm on the scale. I don't even own a scale. I can tell how my diet's going by how I feel. You know, I mean, yeah, if I eat the wrong thing, it just sits, man, hours waiting for it to go through my system. So I don't want things sitting like that. So I'm more cautious about how much I eat at a time and what I eat. And I found if I eat veg first, veg followed by protein, followed by carbs, I seem to do really well with that, regardless of what the food is. It's just that pattern of veg first to line the intestines, and then the protein to prevent it from causing damage going through your intestines, and then carbs. I started taking something. What do you mean you started taking something? You taking a pill not to eat? Okay, it is time to go. And I'm not telling people to become a vegetarian, but I am saying eat more veg. No, I'm like, what are you taking? You said I started taking something. So I'm assuming that started taking something is associated with you eating less. Because that was the conversation at the moment. So tomorrow's Wednesday, and I have to do my laundry. I don't have a choice. I'm down to my last pair of tights. And it's too cold to wear a dress around here right now. But when I'm not doing laundry or baking tomorrow, I'll be back because I really want to create something. I want to make a tiny project first with the felt so I can see how it all works in real time. It is something that takes at least 3 hours, so once I start, I have to continue doing it until it's done. So it's going to be something small. This, something this size, you have to figure it's going to shrink by about 50%. It's not that exact amount. It's different walls, different things, different amounts, but looking at what people were doing, I'm going to say that this size is going to be this size when it's done. Like, more like this size. Because this is going to shrink. Happy Black History Month. That's right, it's February. Power to the people. All right, my darlings, I go, you go. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for the thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, think about it. I could use that. Enjoy your dishes, and I'm going to go find my food. Until tomorrow, aloha.